Commander-in-Chief, 7-string guitarist, singer-songwriter in heavy metal. This is the first episode of my video blog, and in this episode I'm going to talk about riffs and rhythm guitar playing in heavy metal. To tell you this, my amplifier has not been mic'd up, just so you guys know, so for all you internet trolls out there, sound will be another episode. So what makes a riff? Well, it's interesting because when you start playing out guitar, right? Or at least when I started playing out guitar, I would listen to punk music, and I would be like, wow, that sounds so awesome, but then you start playing and you figure out it's really just power chords, being moved up and down the neck. And the second that you learn how to play power chords or bar chords, you can really just basically play any punk song or just start writing music and just start your first band. So then I started looking at heavy metal, and I kind of got into the whole heavy metal thing because I was looking for a challenge as a guitarist. The interesting thing about heavy metal, though, when I then bought my first tabs, is that a lot of the bands that came out during the 90s, the big 90s metal bands, they have really cool, awesome songwriting. But if you look at the guitar playing, a lot of it is drop tuning, you know what I mean? So all you do is basically playing with one finger, and you can play really fast, if you do that. But you're basically just playing with one finger, So basically, I had other guitar players telling me then, this is some time ago now. They were like, well, why don't you just play drop? That's what everybody's doing. And I was thinking, I didn't really want to do that because I didn't want to take any shortcuts with my guitar playing. I kind of wanted on purpose. I kind of made things a bit more difficult for myself. If I was going to practice, hammer on and pull-ups, I would just play everything. Like pick every single note to just exercise. I was thinking that was a smart thing to pick up speed and stuff. So I never went for drop tuning. Everything that I've been doing has always been in standard E tuning. And I'm always trying to, basically play, as many strings as possible when I'm doing, or basically pick as many strings as possible when I'm writing a riff, because I'm pushing myself when it comes to my technique, and I constantly want to, move on, when it comes to my technique as a guitarist. So a lot of times, when you look at riffs in heavy metal, they're usually played on one string, maybe two strings, and I thought to myself, that I'm going to write my own exercises, where I'm trying to move as much as possible, and these exercises actually turn into songs, funny enough. So the riff that I just played, that was, the riff for Dropout. Now the interesting thing about the riff for Dropout, which by the way you guys can actually buy at Reverb Nation, and you can also see the music video for it on my YouTube channel here. Please subscribe. Anyway, when you look at the riff like that, because I'm a solo artist, I depend on having, a session bass player coming in, a session drummer coming in. And whenever, a session bass player take a look at this riff, they always think it's very odd, in a sort of sense that is not in a traditional scale. I don't really care much about theory because I do everything that I do by ear, but whenever you deal with a session bass player, or whenever you deal with session guys, they are always really into theory, so they will always analyze what you play for them, and they will instantly try to put it in a box. The interesting thing about playing rhythm guitar when it comes to heavy metal is that in other genres, when it comes to the guitar kind of comes in and goes out again. But when it comes to heavy metal, the guitar, when it comes to the rhythm, right, it's always there, together with the drums and together with the bass. And the funny thing is this, the first time I was going to do my demo, I was like 18, and I went into a studio, and they put the metronome in front of me. And they were kind of like, yeah, now you play the song from A to B, play the song from start to finish. And it was so intense to sit there with the metronome, like tack, 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 having to, do, the rhythm, playing through the whole song, with the metronome going all the time. And then, of course, you have to double it because you have to have the left and then the right. And it has to sound like one guitar. So that was definitely, quite, a wake-up call, for me, and I've been playing with the metronome ever since. And it's interesting because it's such a heavy-duty thing to be playing rhythm. When you play guitar solos, and when I play leads and stuff, and solos live, everybody kind of goes, wow, that's so cool, his guitar solos are awesome. But then, if you look at the rhythm is happening all the time, you know, when I'm singing even. So underneath the singing and, you know, constantly throughout the show there's all this rhythm stuff going on. And then, you know, and the thing that people pay the most attention to is usually the guitar solos, you know, which is kind of interesting. You know, I wish that, you know, people would pay more attention to the riffs, you know, it's really like guitar solos that really kind of get people going, wow, you know what I mean? Even though, you know, maybe your guitar solos are actually easier to play than all the crazy rhythm stuff that you're actually doing. So basically this used to be part of my song Thou, which you guys can hear on my Evolution EP. Basically, you know, when it comes to my songwriting, I kind of see it, you know, either, you know, you have, as a guitar player, it's cool to challenge yourself, and it's cool to just add, you know, like fills and, you know, and all sorts of things, you know, into your song. But as a songwriter, you kind of want to simplify. You don't want to have that much there because you want the guitar to support, you know, the vocals, and you see the guitar as part of, you know, you have the drums and the bass and everything has to come together. So it's two different ways of looking at songwriting, and I think, you know, it's I think both are cool. But, you know, if you're just going to think about the guitar, you know, sometimes, you know, it can be a bit too much. So with Thou, I had like 8 riffs just in the front, and it was a lot of fun to practice it, to play it. You know, it was a good, you know, workout as a guitarist. But as a songwriter, there was a lot of things that had to be chopped off. And there you go. That's the riff for my song Great Expectations. I play this riff, you know, before I play this guitar solo that comes after it. And when it comes to this riff, I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted it to be like funky, but still have like, you know, bits and pieces, you know, coming in, you know, making it a hard riff to play. And the funny thing about my music is that sometimes, you know, I run into other musicians who think that, you know, that I cannot play something that they can't play, if that makes any sense. So then, you know, they try to, you know, I had like male guitar players, you know, trying to, you know, play my riffs, you know, thinking that, you know, they're gonna show me that it's actually pretty easy to play, you know, my stuff, you know, in their opinion, and they always end up getting stuck. So it's like I had this guy trying to play this riff, and he spent like 6 hours trying to play it, and after 6 hours he still didn't have it right. And then he was going to demonstrate to me that, you know, he had figured it out, but he had missed out on all, you know, the little things, you know, like the string skipping and the down picking, so and the rhythm was off as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I think it's kind of lame, you know, when you meet other guitar players and they're kind of like a bit condescending, you know. People should be a bit more open-minded, and, you know, you should be careful before you try playing other people's music, you know, saying something bad about it. Now when I started out playing guitar, I thought it was kind of cool because I was the only girl doing what I was doing. And I tried to do some, you know, research, you know, to find out, you know, if I could find some other, you know, female guitarist and female metal guitarist then. And the only other female guitarists that I found, there were very few of them, but the few that I found, they were either session musicians in the backing band, you know, of another musician, or, you know, a member of a band where you have a guy playing solos, and usually you have, you know, if you do have female musicians, they're usually, you know, the bass player, sometimes maybe, you know, the rhythm guitarist. So I thought it was kind of cool then to do what I was doing, because I'm a solo artist and I don't play rock and roll or blues, you know, or any, I mean, I play metal, you know, modern metal. The funny thing is that when I started out playing, you know, I would always be kind of shredding, you know, in this area right here. And because I was shredding when I was doing rhythm stuff, I didn't really consider myself a shredder, you know, because shredding to me is, you know, when you're playing fast up, you know, on the higher strings. So I would, you know, be hanging out at, you know, at guitar stores and try out different amplifiers, try out different guitars, and then I would have, you know, the guys that were working at the guitar stores, they would kind of be like, hey, you know, you're a female shredder, you know, let's crank up the amp, you know, just, you know, blow everyone away. And I was like, really, am I a shredder? You know, I didn't really consider myself a shredder, and I didn't really know I could shred, you know, I don't really consider it, you know, it's kind of like, in my head, it's rhythm stuff. So then I was like, well, since, you know, I obviously can shred, since, you know, everyone's telling me I can shred, you know, I should start playing solos, and that's One thing that people have a tendency of not talking about a lot is, you know, the consequences of playing too much, or basically playing too much heavy stuff, you know. The whole thing about, you know, getting tennis elbow, tendonitis, you know, getting pain in your wrist, you know, pain in your shoulder, all those type of things. It's really, really annoying, and it's something that, you know, a lot of times, you know, people don't mention. You know, I have a proper like warm up. You know, when I do all these like warm up exercises that are really boring on the guitar, I do that for like an hour, sometimes even two. You know, I think it's cool sometimes, you know, to play like, to practice, you know, like really boring exercises at like half speed, to just like really get it precise, you know, with the metronome. So I play it like really slowly, and then I just like speed it up, you know, on full speed, you know, and just go, you know, after some time. One of the coolest things that I definitely got myself is this one. Okay, this is a Powerball, and I dig it, you know. And basically what this is doing is, if you do a lot of rhythm stuff, you know, and you have the metronome, you know, pumping, and everything has to be really precise and tight, it's easy to become really kind of tense, you know, when you are playing this stuff. And the secret about, you know, playing heavy metal guitar is to be relaxed, but still, you know, decisive and precise. So you have to have that whole like heavy thing going, and be really precise and decisive and stuff, but then still be relaxed, you know, while playing this heavy stuff. It can be really tricky sometimes. So anyway, this one is cool because it definitely loosens up the wrist. You know, I always use this one. My family is very tired of hearing the sound of this one, but in my opinion, any guitar player should get one. This is what it does. You're supposed to have it like this, you know, and it's definitely a very nice warm-up, you know, to make your wrist a bit more loose, and to go away from that stiffness that comes from a lot of rhythm playing. So I hope you guys enjoyed my very first episode of my video blog. I chose to talk about guitar riffs because I think a lot of times it gets kind of overlooked, you know, when in rhythm guitar and riffs, you know, people always focus on solos. You guys should definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm the Commander-in-Chief. You guys should also like me on Facebook. And in the next episodes, you know, of my video blog, I'm going to talk about a lot of different things. I'm going to talk about you know, the recording process. You know, I have a pretty cool pre-sonus endorsement, and I'm going to, you know, talk about, you know, the songwriting and show you guys, you know, how I'm doing, you know, when it comes to you know, their programs. I'm going to talk about, you know, my singing as well. You know, I'm in the new Oldies catalog. You guys should definitely check it out. It's really cool. And I'm also going to, you know, talk about what it is like to be an on-site artist. You know, I have received a lot of really cool features and press lately. You know, I'm going to talk about that as well. So it's going to be about songwriting, guitar playing, you know, singing, all these things that I do. You know, also some art, because I also do artwork. And yeah, you guys should definitely subscribe, you know, and keep track, you know, of my films, and check out the other ones on my YouTube channel as well. I also give guitar lessons, so if anyone's interested in guitar lessons on Skype, you know, you should definitely inbox me. So yeah, I'm the Commander-in-Chief. See you next week.